Apparently he has several very clean outfits that always are, so he has a dry cleaner? I don't know. His hair looks very good all the time. So it's kind of a different character. Jason, you're in the woods, if you will. It's over. There's nothing. It's nature. It's you versus nature. So you run, or that's it. You can't really run from Jason, I'm sorry. Are there any questions today? Are there any questions? Or have I answered them all? Right there? Oh, right here. Well, yeah, right here. Sure, sure.
So, my favorite scene is with the water. When you come out of the water.
Oh, thank you.
And I was wondering if you have any like stories, other stories
Sure.
about that.
Yeah. Well, oh yeah, of course. Now the first sequence is when Mama is having the flashback, and she says, you know, he was my only son. His name is Jason. Today is his birthday. He wasn't a very good swimmer. But see, okay, when I was young, a movie came out called Jaws. Okay. And so I lived by the beach in Connecticut, as I said, Westport, Connecticut, where there's this beach. And I would go swimming every day. My parents would go and bring a little lunch to the beach every day. Oh, so nice. And well, we saw Jaws, you know, and my dad, he went to the library and he got me these books and he said, look, Ari, don't be afraid of sharks because they won't really eat you. And I said, oh, my dad's afraid I'm gonna get eaten by a shark. So we went to the beach and I'm out there swimming and you know, I start screaming, help, the sharks, the shark. And my dad and mom, they come running to the edge and go, oh no, it's like Jaws. And I just start laughing at my parents. And they were vexed. Ari, oh. But every day we would go, you know, to the beach. So, of course, every day I would repeat this thing of, you know. So finally, in the end, my dad would be like, we're going to the beach and you can be eaten by sharks. Let's go. He figured it out that I wanted to scare him. And then sometimes I would be swimming and he would get me back because I would think he was on the beach and he would grab my foot. You know, only dads can do that. Oh man. Anyway, so he got me back, I suppose. But so that's how I played that scene. Thank you. That's a good question. Yeah, I was thinking about Jaws. Yeah. Any other questions? Right there.
Is there any like scenes that they just didn't use from that movie? Like obviously, because Friday the 13th movies are like well known for like just cutting out a lot of footage that's just gone, never gonna be seen again because like whether it was lost or destroyed.
Yes.
Any scenes that they just didn't use that?
No, that's a great question. The later movies, which had more budget, certainly had the option of removing more footage. The first Friday the 13th was very, very close in terms of budget. So, but however, there was one sequence. In fact, it was the very first time we went to film the scene that we were just talking about. And what had happened was, well, it was 1979, and the set was at a summer camp. It was a terribly hot summer, and all of the cast and crew, may I remind you, lived in New York City, because this was filmed in New Jersey. It wasn't filmed in Hollywood. So it was a terrible summer in New York, and they were all very happy to get out of the city and to be at this nice summer camp. Oh, and I guess there was a little partying going on, because it was 1979. Maybe there was a bit of partying going on. And, you know, actors and oh my gosh, and everyone, Tom Savini and Tasso, and oh my gosh, I'll tell you more about it later. But, so, yeah, that morning was the first morning we were supposed to shoot the Jason drowning flashback. And it got scrapped because, yeah, we had to come back and do it. One reason, there's a famous picture of Tom Savini putting my makeup on, where we both look a little tired. That's from that morning. Like I think a little hungover. And so, you know, so. Also, they felt that the way that they did the makeup for that first time was too, would make people feel sympathetic for Jason. So they wanted to make him a little more like a monster. So then we did it again. So that one was scrapped. Yeah, right there.
How difficult was it to maintain the consistency of your makeup?
Well, that's a great question, and the answer, of course, is Tom Savini is the maestro of special effects. I'm sure several or more of you have met Tom, and so the way they do it, the whole process is they take a cast of your entire head. So I had to put straws up my nose, and they took a cast, yeah, and you have to wait for them to take a cast. And there was so much goofing around going on. The first cast came out, it had like laugh lines on it, because I had apparently laughed at some point. So they said, oh, Tom put on a record. He put on Jim Morrison and the Doors. People are strange when you're a stranger. And I just zoned out, and so we got the cast. Then they build the mask on that, then they take a cast of that. So now you've got the latex application. So we had to make sure that fit. It was basically half of my face. So there's a glass eye that had to be fit. There's false teeth that didn't really fit, but we made them work. And so I think your question is saying because we had to go underwater, correct? In fact, we had to make sure that it was done quickly. We only had 1 or 2 takes because that latex, yeah, it would, well, one of the cool things about it was it had a certain buoyancy. So when I went under the water, it kind of helped me go up. But yeah, and I had long hair then. So he just took all my hair and put it up in the top. So yeah, it took about 4.5 hours to put on. But once it was put on, it was pretty secure. Of course, we would shoot early in the morning so that it hadn't gotten really hot yet. And, you know, because basic factors like heat or being underwater, I guess it could only last maybe an hour tops. So we made sure that we got everything shot. And again, when I did that first take of the final sequence, where we scared poor Adrian so much and we had to do a second take, you know, we had to do that quickly. I remember them saying, you know, we're burning daylight here, let's make sure we get this second take. But that's all about Tom Savini and his assistant, Tassos Stavrakos, who, by the way, whose hands you can see at the end when you see it's supposed to be Pamela Voorhees' hands after she gets her head cut off. That's actually Tassos' hairy Greek hands, if you look carefully. I'm like, why couldn't you shave your hands? Please. But he put her ring on. Anyway, any other questions? In the back.
Do you have a favorite Friday the 13th sequel?
Yeah, I would say that would be part 7, which is the entrance of Kane Hodder as Jason. I think that he really honored the legacy of all the previous films. Director John Buechler, who got his wings a few years ago, and we miss him. He primarily was a special effects designer. So when they designed all of the costume for Jason for part 7, you see all of the different wounds that he had gotten throughout the years. And I just think that that was a good starting point. I kind of wish that they had followed that storyline, you know, but that's just how things go sometimes, you know, when the movie kept going from one production team to another. So John Beekler only directed part 7, and not, you know, after that it went to another director. But I also like, I mean, I like all of the portrayals of the different Jasons. All the different Jasons, I feel, brought something new to the role, something different to the role. You know, we have the great Ted White in part 4, who was John Wayne's stunt double for 17 years, and also directed some of the, stunt directed a lot of the World War II movies that Hollywood is very proud of, and a lot of Westerns, you know, so that's a great thing. And, but yeah, I love part 7. You know, what about Jason X? I think some of the best kills are in Jason X, like the liquid nitrogen kill. That would probably be my favorite of all. Any other questions out there?
I had a quick question. So, you know, you're not a one-trick pony. You have a degree in music, and you do a lot of composing, and you have a band. Would you like to tell us about that?
Thank you. That's a great segue. Yes, of course. I have a band, unironically called First Jason, and our first album came out in 2009. Jason is Watching, and yes, I basically do about 200 shows a year now with First Jason, traveling all over the country in our van, playing in small rock clubs, but also some festivals and some conventions. Like right now, we're on our way, we'll be playing in Pittsburgh at the Subalpine on Thursday. Then we'll be at another convention like this called Catastrophicon on Saturday in New York. But so as our albums came out and we got more and more acceptance from the metal scene, you know, I play a keytar. So I'm one of the only heavy metal keytar players in the world. I'm known as the evil wizard of the keytar. And yeah, I can make that thing do things that it normally doesn't do. But also, I have a great band. Eddie Machete is our guitar player. He's a student of of Joe Satriani, and friend of Steve Vai. He's a shredder. Bass Amp is our drummer, who's an amazing punk performer from St. Louis, and he's a bit of a comedian. So we have just a great team. And in the past few years, we've benefited from other bands helping us out. The first one was Incantation, who's a thrash band from North Carolina. They invited us to one of their big festivals where, you know, getting on stage with a guitar at a thrash festival is kind of, you know, but, you know, 30 seconds in, we won them over. And then, okay, Ice Nine Kills. I don't know if you know about this band, but you should. This is the next horror rock sensation. They have millions of fans now. All the girls in America are in love with Spencer Charnas, their lead singer. I mean, unless you haven't heard of him. So Spencer invited me to sing on, see, every song Ice Nine Kills does is about a different horror franchise. So they did a song called Thank God It's Friday. They had me sing on the acoustic version of that. Then Spencer sang on our song called The Scapegoat. So when you get a minute, check out The Scapegoat by First Jason on YouTube. Spencer's even in our video on that one. But now, okay, then after that, a band called Twisted, who's from the Juggalo world, they invited us to be a part of their world. And so we performed at their Astronomicon event, and we did a collaboration with them. So usually we do metal, but since they kind of do hip hop, we did a hip hop collaboration with them. And check it out, Alex Vincent, who's here, he did the drum tracks, okay? Then sexy sax man Tim Capello from Lost Boys, he's playing sax all over the track. Then I got a call from Courtney Gaines, who played Malachi in Children of the Corn. So I said, hey man, why don't you spit a track for me? He's like, I don't know, Ari. I'm like, no, come on, man. And he did it. He has a band, but they usually play kind of rock and roll, folk rock. But he did it. He did this amazing verse about, you know, 3 slashers from the 80s, something. He was great. But then, of course, Jamie and Paul from Twisted did a double chorus and kind of showed us all how to actually rap. But it's good, you know, it's a good song. And it's called Killing It. It's called Killing It. First Jason, Killing It. But, so now we just did a new song called Barbalian, which is kind of a fun punk song about an alien. She lands on the planet and she's actually a barbarian. And so then she hits me on the head and takes me back to her planet. And you know, that, we just did a video, which is really kind of, I guess, you know, how you got this vibe now of like fluorescent electro, you know, dance, that vibe. There's a dear friend of ours, Dylan Mars Greenberg. So she directed this video and it looks amazing. So that's gonna come out, you know, about in a month. But yeah, so First Jason is just constantly on the go. We've got another new song called Look What You Did, we played the other night here, that actually uses the words of Mama Voorhees. And so we're gonna do a new video for that. And that video, see now the director is here, AJ Chambers, who, and this is another one of the hats I wear, in that I do a lot of independent films. So they cast me in a movie called Lust, Magic, and the Witch's Sabbath, which is going to shoot in Council Bluffs. In other words, one of our shows is going to be in that movie. And that's going to be the video for Look What You Did. But yeah, so another independent film that I'm in that I say everybody should check out, it's called The Barn 2, and it's currently trailing right behind Terrifier 2 on Streambox. It's a comedy horror where I play Dr. Rock, who's a VJ from the 90s, like, you're on the rock block with Dr. Rock. And so I actually kill zombies with my guitar in this movie. And this movie has its own 8-bit video game, and it's amazing. I have a little Dr. Rock with my guitar. Also, I use a nail gun to kill zombies in this movie, which it's a lot of fun. Doug Bradley's in this movie too, who played Hell Priest, known as Pinhead in Hellraiser. Linnea Quigley's in this movie, Lloyd Kaufman's in this movie, Joe Bob Briggs and his girlfriend. So it's a really, really fun movie, The Barn 2. So check that out, you know, it's streaming anytime, just have some fun. Because that's what we're really here about. You know, people say all these things about horror, right? This and that and the other thing, but in the end, it's just like metal. We're all just having fun. And everybody has fun in a different way. And the only thing that isn't fun is to tell somebody else how they should have fun. Okay, so, you know, as long, you know, I think that you're gonna find some of the most wonderful people you ever meet, some of the sweetest people. They may be pagan, or they may be, who knows what, but that doesn't even matter, because I'm telling you, on the horror scene and in the metal scene, just, I've never encountered so much open-heartedness, open-earedness, if you will, to let First Jason in. And always remember, everybody is welcome at a metal show. Everybody is welcome at a horror convention. And that's why now you're all part of the Voorhees family. And I appreciate you being here today. Thank you so much.